Hello, welcome to the channel.
What's up?
Hey, it's June 27th.
That's excellent. That's a special day, huh?
Yeah, today's my birthday.
Very special.
It's weird because we're not filming this on my birthday, but then by the time this is what is my birthday.
Well,
so
happy birthday.
I guess I have two birthdays.
Happy birthday, my sweet, beautiful baby.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. The entry on my special day is adversity reveals.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. Adversity reveals. I think this is going to be like a man does not rise to the level of his ambition, he falls to the level of his training.
Mm-hmm.
So like adversity will reveal how much training you've had to deal with these issues, these challenges. It will reveal exactly where you are in your growth as a person of being able to handle crazy shit.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. Seneca. And this is from Oedipus. Did we know that? Did we know that Seneca wrote Oedipus?
I think so.
Okay. He says, in the play, probably as a character, "How does it help my husband to make misfortune heavier by complaining about it? This is more fit for a king, to seize your adversities head on. The more precarious his situation, the more imminent his fall from power, the more firmly he should be resolved to stand and fight. It isn't manly to retreat from fortune." So she's saying in the quote, like, how does it help to make misfortune heavier by complaining about it? So that's the first piece.
Mm-hmm.
This is more fit for a king, to seize your adversities head on. To say, yes, thank you for my adversities, for my challenges.
Instead of complaining about them, facing them head on. Is that kind of, oh, why did this happen? It shouldn't have happened. And all those, just saying, okay, here it is. I gotta go deal with this or something.
Yeah.
Like getting quicker to that, I gotta go deal with this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes on to, the more precarious his situation, the more imminent his fall from power. So precarious means like delicate. Mm-hmm. So a situation, like a king's situation, is now delicate. And how the more imminent, like it's going to happen, his fall from power. So she's saying, like, if you're in a situation where it's like shaky ground is underneath you and like bad shit's gonna happen, the more firmly he should be resolved to stand and fight.
So the more it looks like you're gonna fall from power, the more you should stick. That's interesting, because that's kind of like what happens in these wars, right? Like these people who are the leaders of these armies. Like, yeah, once they go in, like they want to stick in there until there is a clear winner and a loser or something, yeah. I mean, and it's not just war, but it's just like any really inner, is it a competition?
I think it's like anything that you feel is like coming against you. Like life is like putting this
like
obstacle.
let's say you feel like, like you're like I had this thing, right? Like I was at work and like there was this like people going, trying to get different promotions, and it's like the more I felt the pressure of like, hey, I have to like fight more for this promotion, because I saw the other person fighting for that promotion, I was actually going like, I'm retreating, right? I didn't stick there to fight it off. I said, you have it, I'm good, right? And so, but did I wanted it, aka, right? Like not, I wanted it, like if I don't get it now, I'm, destroyed or something. But like there was wanting it, but the second there was a competition, I didn't take there was a competition, and if it's equal, it's great, it's great, it's great, it's great, it's great. I can fight. But now if there starts to be a gap where the competition is better, now I don't want to stay there anymore. Like I just saw, oh, that's too hard to keep fighting this. I want to just let them kind of win it and take it.
Yeah,
and so this tells me like, no, don't give it to them. Keep fighting
right.
it until you are defeated. Don't hand it to them.
Right, and they might be so much better than you. They might be the Kriegel Mara of the X Alps competition who has landed 2 days ago, and then there's like 5 days left for some people. Why would they finish that race at that point?
Right.
Because it's not about beating Kriegel Mara. He already won.
Yeah.
It's about like my personal best.
Sure.
It's about like, how did I stand up to my adversity here? Because my adversity wasn't actually Kriegel Mara in the race. My adversity was like, shit, I have to hike 600 clicks, and then I have to manage this weather and start and fly in this weather, and like that's the adversity in that whole thing.
And in what I was describing is like I was in competition with someone else, right? And then I go like, it's hard for me to compete with somebody else. I don't even know what we're competing against, or what are the rules of the game. Like we don't know any of this, right? So it's like the lesson there was like, I should have been in competition with myself.
Right.
Can I get this? Can I actually achieve this?
Or can I give my personal best
and
where at the end of it, I'm so proud of how I showed up here.
That it doesn't matter that if I won it or not, but it was more, I remember like it was more of like, oh, well, the gap is too huge, so kind of, it is what it is,
And I think that that's also maybe a fair assessment. Sure. If it's something that you don't really, if you're not that invested in it, if you don't want it, if you're like, well, I
wanted it, but it was more like a local goal, not life achievement.
And so then at that point it's like, okay, well then it's like, if I pull my energy out from here, I can't just let it now like sit in this like, oh, it's just gonna get eaten up by Netflix, or it's gonna get eaten up by this. Like it has to now, that needs to be put into something else specific and streamlined, and like I'm moving forward in this direction.
I mean, that ultimately shifted to the point that I completely shifted my life after that, right? Like the result, I could potentially say that the result of that little competition freed up all this other time for me, that I said, oh, well, maybe I wasn't, like I was trying to get this, but do I really want it? No, I wouldn't actually want that now that I know what it takes to do that job. Like no, I wouldn't like that. That's not me, right? And so like I learned that, and I said, oh, well then let me go do this, and now all these changes happen after that, right? So now I'm not saying because of it, but because of finding out of like what I wanted from that, or I was going towards something that I think I should want, but once I got closer to finding out what it actually is, I was like, oh, like I don't, here, you take it, because I don't want to fight for this thing. This is not maybe even what I want, right? So anyway.
You want to read Ryan?
Yeah.
He says, as the CEO of Charles Schwab, Walt Bettinger hires hundreds of people each year and interviews hundreds more. Over his lifetime, we can safely assume he's had his share of hits, misses, and surprises when it comes to bringing people on board. But consider one technique he's used as he's gotten older. He takes a candidate to breakfast and asks the restaurant's manager to purposefully mess up the candidate's breakfast order. He's testing to see how they react. Do they get upset? Do they act rudely? Do they let this little event spoil the meeting? Do they handle the inconvenience with grace and kindness? How you handle even minor adversity might seem like nothing, But in fact, it reveals everything.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they brought it down to the micro there. Like even the tiniest little things of adversity. Because there's that saying that I hear people in the yoga space say a lot, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it all happens in this moment, and in this moment there are just these little tiny things. In this moment, there's never big things to achieve. It's just those little things to achieve here, to do something or to not to do something. Yeah, it's like it goes into this micro level, right?
Yeah, and when he's talking about like adversity, it's like all of the little inconveniences, the little things of like, oh, this person didn't stop at a stop sign the way that I wanted them to. Like, and those reactions are like just a glimpse into like a larger reaction. It's like, if I can't handle this with grace, like how could I possibly expect myself to handle something bigger than this with grace?
Well, and that's interesting because, like, well, if I cannot handle this little thing with grace, let's say some argument, and now you're like, I can't, I'm now, might be yelling or something, right? And so, like, I can't handle that, or I'm honking, come on, move, right? Like that's an agitation that I'm not handling, and so like, well, like me understanding, like, oh, it's me not honking will make my life actually better or something, right? So like, but how do you not do that?
I mean, what's sticking out to me from this is like sometimes it feels like self-improvement is like this big thing of like I have to go tackle this big thing, and like I really appreciate Ryan bringing it back down to this like really tiny thing where it's like for me I'm just sort of like feeling a sense of relief that, well, I don't have to fix, like, for example, like if you and I get into like a fight or something like that, like that's already a big thing. Like he's talking about minor inconveniences, like I'm putting out there on the road. For me, like everything out on the road is a minor inconvenience. There's no reason out on the road that I should be like getting irritated at other people. Like, I mean, maybe there are some instances, but like it's not as often as I would want to be getting irritated at people. Then
so I get that, like you're doing
like
a list of things that
I'm just doing a list of like the small
right
things.
So the question is like, how do you not do that? How do you
it's like, I don't know, like
what's the technique or something? Just taking a breath or something? That seems kind of
the technique I think is like really, for me, it's like understanding at a deep level that like I am here to experience adversity and struggle and hard times, and I should never be wishing that away from myself. I should never be wishing that my life, that everyone out on the road is just behaving 100% well for me to exist how I want to exist. That doesn't make sense. As long as I behave like that, it's not like I have a conscious belief like that. Like I don't get into the car and think that. But it's subconsciously coming out in behavior. So I don't know, like I'm hoping that it's helpful in that way where I'm able to start looking at self-improvement on a much smaller level where it's like, oh, someone just messed this up. Someone just cut in front of me in line. Someone just did this thing. Like, how am I going to handle this small little thing? And like kind of let myself off the hook for some of the bigger shit downstream. Because if it's like, well, if I can just like focus here on the smaller stuff, and then the way I do one thing is the way I do everything, then this
The big
will...
stuff. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, but how do you do that? Like, how do you not do that?
Well, what I'm just resonating with right now is like a clarity of like this. I don't know, like we're gonna have to go out in the world at this point and try this shit out. What I'm thinking is helpful, which has been helpful to me in the past, is getting clear on a concept. Because once I'm like clear on a concept, it's like behavior naturally flows in that direction. Or if it doesn't naturally flow in that direction, there's a reflection, a natural reflection about it afterwards, where it's like, oh snap, I just flipped out at this person, and I know I don't want to be that type of person. I'm clear on this concept. So what just happened? Like, what do I need to learn now to do differently?
Gotcha. So ultimately, what you're already doing is already these improvements, because when you're running into them, you then maybe sometimes it's before, like, oh, I'm getting upset, and I can catch it earlier, right? Or sometimes you don't catch it until later.
Right.
And so, and then you're going through, you're not saying, no, I just got mad, who cares?
No, I can't do that.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That means you're already doing it. You're already doing, so I'm asking you, what do I do, right? And so the answer is, you're already doing it. As long as you are like catching it at some point, like you're already doing it. And if you're not catching it, well, then the job is to go try to catch it. Those things of like, I am reacting a certain way, I don't want to be reacting like this, right? Just saying this and catching that like that is already the tool to get the right results or something.
Well, yeah. That's the learning process of like,
so
try, fail.
So if I not, so I got you. So because I was asking like, well, how do I do it? What do I do? And I see like, no, you are already doing it, but you don't see that. You maybe don't see the progress or something or whatever. But if you are trying to catch it, then you're already doing it. That's good. That feels nice.
Yeah,
because there's always constantly from this, like I constantly look at it from like, I'm not doing something. I should be doing something that I'm not already doing. And this is more like, no, I am doing it. It's like a really slow process. And like, I'm doing the right thing. Every time I react in the way that is later pointed out to me by someone, or I recognize it myself, that recognition of that is already like, oh, like I don't want to be doing that. Oh, like I need to be looking at it differently. This was another one of those situations that got derailed. And so just that is already doing it. Because we want to be better. There's no question about it. Like there's no question that you want to improve. No question that every single one of us wants to improve. Right? And so then we say, well, we don't know how to do that. Well, I think we are doing it.
Yeah, I feel
really
good about.
Time.
Yeah.
And the expectations that we set on ourselves that this shit's supposed to happen tomorrow is the poo-poo.
Yeah,
right?
I feel really good about the process of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not expecting like instantaneous results from it, because I understand like what learning is. Learning is trial and error. So there has to be error.
And I'm not saying that I am expecting immediate results, but I want the results like next week on Thursday.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't have to happen now. It comes now. No, but like next week, please, right? But the thing is, it's like the thing that I'm describing of like, hey, I want to be a person who catches themselves reacting to things internally first before they communicate anything on the outside, right? Like that doesn't mean holding my emotions back. No. I am experiencing them just internally, and you all don't need to know about it, right? And then I'm saying, oh, cool. And now I want to respond to the world calmly. From doesn't matter what comes here, I want to respond calmly, right? I understand that sometimes it's needed to respond aggressively. Let's say if you're threatened or something. I'm not saying always. I'm just saying as a default reaction, I want it to come from understanding and all that. And so then I'm like, that's the goal. I'm already working on it. That's great. Like I really am connected to that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing something.
Yeah. I feel like I've kind of come to a place with it where the idea of there being a destination has sort of erased itself. And I'm like very satisfied with the process. I'm like satisfied with the process of like messing up and learning, and I've gotten myself into the place where the learning aspect of it is like super fun and like super rewarding in and of itself. So it's like, ooh, as long as I messed up and I have to feel shitty about the fact that I messed up, ooh, as long as that's the case, I get to learn something. And the I get to learn something is like starting to bring more and more excitement and good feeling on its own. So it's like I'm starting to, I think, develop a thicker skin for failure and mistakes and messing up. And overall, like, I do have moments like what you're talking about of like, I want this next Thursday. But overall, I go to bed at night and wake up in the morning feeling like, oh, this is really cool. Like, I'm excited about how I've grown today, and I'm excited about how I'm going to grow tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, because if we are already doing it, it just takes really long time. Then okay, that's calm, right? That is calmness in it. It's like, okay, yeah, just don't stop. Keep trying to continuous improvement, right? If we are on a path of continuous improvement, we are already doing it. We do not get to choose how fast this thing goes.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, my friend. Thank you so much for joining. And do you know somebody who has June 27th as their birthday? If you do, put it in the comments. That would be cool to see. All right, see you here tomorrow.